After I told my friend group at work that the way I motivate my wife to clean is by making her cry, they started avoiding me like the plague, but my method is making our house way cleaner, and I don't see any reason to stop. Okay, so I know the title makes it sound bad, but hear me out. I, 28M, have been married to my wife Lindsay, 25F, for 2 years. We've been together for 7. Our marriage is great. Despite us both being busy with work, we still make time to go on dates and be intimate with each other whenever we can. I work in engineering and Lindsay is an RN, so I pay for most of the bills and utilities. We split the bills, but I pay for majority of the costs because I make more. Lindsay usually fully covers grocery costs and the Wi-Fi, which isn't much because it's just the two of us. I feel that since I make and spend more money, Lindsay should make up for that in housework. I'm not some traditional wife-desiring jerk. I think it's great that she works and has goals for her career. I want her to. I feel like our chores are split fairly. It changes day by day depending on our schedules, but typically, Lindsay cooks our meals. She is much better than me. Trust me, you don't want me anywhere near a kitchen, but it's nothing fancy or requiring a lot of effort. She does the dishes and vacuums, but it's not daily. It's more like an as-needed basis. I take out the trash weekly and wash our cars about once a month. This has always seemed fair to me, but recently I've felt frustrated with her. I've been at my current job for 6 years and I've developed really great friendships in my time here. There's a few of us that always get together on break for lunch and whatnot. One of my coworkers, John, has been married to his wife Claire for about 10 years if my memory serves correctly. About a month ago, John invited me and the rest of the gang plus our wives to have dinner at their house. Claire is a stay-at-home mom, so she handles everything at home while John works and brings home the bacon. I know this sounds bad, but I was jealous. Not because she's a stay-at-home mom, I don't want kids, but because John has a wife that actually puts effort into her food and cleaning. Their house was immaculate, completely spotless, no dishes left in the sink, little knick-knacks left out on countertops, nothing. I couldn't believe it. Claire set the table and waited on everyone. She was thoughtful and made sure everyone's glasses were always full and would ask if she could get us more food, etc. She made filet mignon with mashed potatoes and roasted vegetables on the side. It was amazing, and I can't remember the last time Lindsay put any effort into our meals. It's always something lazy like pasta, a lot of chicken-centered meals, tacos, quesadillas, everything requiring little to no effort. On the drive home, Lindsay made a comment about how Claire is an amazing cook and said she would like to have dinner with them again because they're great people. I agreed with her and said something along the lines of, you could also be more adventurous with your meal choices so we can eat good at home too. She took offense to this and said she didn't realize her food was so bad. I said it wasn't, but it's nothing compared to Claire's because she puts no effort into it. She stopped talking to me and was pouting like a child. She went to bed without speaking to me that night. I ended up apologizing the next day when she got home and she forgave me. Fast forward a week later and I became more and more frustrated. She was working 12-hour shifts more than usual, and as a result, her housework suffered. She would leave at 7 a.m. and come home at 7 p.m., and on some nights she went straight to bed without making dinner. I ended up getting takeout on those nights. Dishes were piling up in the sink, the carpets were becoming noticeably dirty, and she just sat in bed scrolling on her phone or sleeping. I tried to be understanding at first, but at this point she's used to working 12-hour shifts, so there really is no excuse. I ended up having a talk with her and was brutally honest. I told her that I'm not satisfied with her level of housework anymore and I want her to do more. I want her to come home and make dinner, and I want her to put more effort into it. I gave her some examples of meals I would like to eat and suggestions for ways that she can clean before going to bed, such as drinking coffee or energy drinks on the way home. I thought she was receptive to my ideas at first, but then I realized she looked pissed. She very coldly asked me if I feel this way because of John's wife, and I answered honestly and said yes. I told her I would be embarrassed if my friends came over to have dinner with us after that dinner at John's. She started tearing up when I said this, and I felt kind of bad for being so harsh. She didn't say a word to me and just left the room. I came out a short while later and saw her maniacally scrubbing a stain out of the carpet on her hands and knees, still crying. I asked her what she was doing and she screamed, "What does it look like, you fudging jerk?" The stain she was scrubbing was pretty much gone, but she continued for what felt like hours. I started feeling sorry for pushing her to that point, but then I remembered something. Something that could work out great for me or go horribly wrong. When she was in high school, she was Baker acted, I will not disclose details out of respect, and was in a psych ward. She told me she used to neglect herself when she felt really depressed, but after being in the ward, she obsessively cleans when she feels depressed or overwhelmed because of the habits they drilled into her. I almost felt like a DC villain because of the huge smirk that crept on my face. So, the next night she got home at 7 p.m. I told her I had something to confess to her and she looked petrified. I told her I was sorry, but I watched porn while she was at work because I was lonely. She ended up throwing up from crying so much, but just as I thought, she started cleaning. She washed all the dishes by hand instead of using the dishwasher. She dusted everything, every fan, every TV screen, every shelf. I didn't want it to be too obvious, so I started limiting this trick to 4x a week max. Skip to present day, I made a joke at lunch with my coworkers about how I trained my wife to love cleaning. Everyone was laughing and asked for the secret, so I said all I have to do is make her cry and she can't wait to clean. Daniel asked me what I mean, and I told him about how her response to being upset is to clean, so I've been upsetting her on purpose. Everyone was silent while I was still laughing. Adam asked why in a very unamused tone. I spilled the beans about how Claire made me realize how unmotivated my wife is and I wish Lindsay was more like her. The rest of lunch was pretty awkward and I felt like I made everyone uncomfortable. I ended up texting John to ask if I did something wrong because he didn't come by my station before leaving like he usually does. He told me he felt really weird about the way I was treating my wife and idealizing his. He told me I was being a jerk and emotionally abusing her when I should just communicate. I argued against this because I did communicate. I told her exactly what I wanted from her and all she did was make excuses about being tired from work and needing sleep. She even suggested that I should clean more if the state of the house bothers me so much and that I should learn how to cook before criticizing her. We wouldn't be able to afford the house we live in if it weren't for me. The lifestyle we live is because of me, so why can't she just show appreciation by cleaning and cooking better meals? It's been 3 days now and I am now sitting alone at lunch. When I sit with my usual group everyone stops talking. I feel like I really fudged up and want to make things right with my friends, but at the same time I feel like what I'm doing is okay because it's not for no reason. She's actually cleaning more and I'm so proud of her. Am I the jerk because I want to keep doing it? Commenter 1. You're the jerk. Don't worry, you can figure it out after she divorces you. Commenter 2. You're a jerk. Household chores are divided in accordance with the number of hours worked outside of the home, not income. If your wife is working 12-hour shifts, you should be doing most of the housework, not just half. Commenter 3. You got me at the first few sentences and I almost agreed. But then it gets worse. You just sound like an ungrateful entitled brat who never appreciates his wife. You're a jerk. Fake. But if it was real, you'd be one of the worst people I've ever seen on this sub. Edit. I understand that I'm the jerk now and no, this is not fake. Sorry to deprive you of that comfort. It's impossible not to recognize something is wrong with you when a good 80% of the comments are calling it fake or hoping it is. I understand now that I mentally abused my wife and I do want to fix it. Thank you to the 2 people who actually took the time to offer constructive feedback and advice. As much as I hate the thought I'm going to seek out a professional. It isn't possible for everyone to be wrong and I'm right, even though that's what my brain is telling me. I know something is wrong with me even though my brain is saying there isn't. Thank you all for helping me realize it. As per request, I will update in the future if there are any changes. Update, 4 months later. So, hi. It's been a while. I don't have a lot to say, but I was asked to update if I ever decided to try therapy and I did. I didn't like it. I dropped out of individual therapy after 2 sessions. My therapist was more interested in my childhood than giving me actual advice, but stuck with couples therapy. I tried, I really did. The therapist and my wife would gang up on me. The therapist changed my wife a lot. She went from being kind and soft-spoken to rude and brazen. She would snap on me for absolutely nothing and constantly bring up things I've done in the past to use against me in an argument to try and make me submit. Remember how my wife is an RN? Yeah, well she was frigging cheating on me with some ugly guy working the same shifts as her. She confessed to that in therapy and said if I could forgive her she could forgive all the things I've done. Nothing I have ever done has been close to this. I have never cheated. Vows mean nothing apparently. She also shared a lot of things she never told me, like her last grandparent passing away. In her words, he wouldn't care. Yes, I would have if she told me. She had no reason not to. I wouldn't have been so harsh about the housework if I knew she was grieving, but no, go ahead please, don't tell me anything and then use it against me later because that makes sense. I thought couple therapists were supposed to be neutral. Isn't their entire purpose bringing couples together and helping them understand each other? Since when do they call their clients manipulative? How is that allowed? Anyways, back to the batch wife, I can't forgive a cheater. She is staying with her parents for now as we are separated. I don't want her back in my house. It makes sense now why she didn't want to smash anymore. We stopped going on dates. Our intimacy suffered. All because she cheated. Therapy was a waste of time and money, but I guess it was worth it in the end because I learned what kind of person she really is. She disgusts me. I did not want therapy but I tried my best for her and to change. That is clearly not what she wanted because she cheated. I learned this information last month and I have finally come to terms with it. As for my friends, I'm still cool with a few of them. Others clearly look down on me so I don't interact with them anymore, but we don't eat lunch together anymore. I sit elsewhere now and it's not too bad honestly. I'm meeting new people. Maybe I'll find love again soon but who knows. My reputation at work in regards to personal matters is kind of bad now. Well, that's really it. Thank you for reading. Commenter. First time I don't have any empathy with a person who was cheated on. That's new. Commenter 2. I concur. Furthermore, she even gave him one last chance there, when she told him about the affair. She said if he could forgive that, she could find a way to forgive him. Then he may as well have spat in her face, when he refused that reasonable offer. Even the offering was more than he deserved. As they say, good riddance to bad rubbish.